This is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Kariba Avenue, and I am Ashma Oba. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. Sidi Keita, the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, on Monday presented the draft estimates for the fiscal year beginning 1st January to 31st December 2023 to the National Assembly. A group of former TRRC staff members launched a Never Again network on Saturday to advocate against the Gambia backsliding to dictatorship and the era of gross human rights violations. The Media Academy for Journalism and Communication, MAJAC, held its maiden graduation on Saturday for 40 students who had completed the Advanced Diploma in Journalism and Communications. To commemorate World Diabetes Day on the 14th of November, a Medicare clinic in collaboration with the UTG Medical Students Association today organized a day-long free consultation on diabetes and testing. The members of the Muslim High School Federation gathered on Saturday for their first official meeting to elect executive members to run the Federation's affairs. Now, those were main headlines. Now, the news in detail. Now, Sidi Keita, the Finance and Economic Affairs Minister, on Monday presented the draft estimates for the fiscal year beginning 1st January to 31st of December 2023 to the National Assembly. Suleiman Dabo was at the National Assembly and he filed this report.
The draft estimates will be debated by the National Assembly starting on November the 23rd. After the minister's presentation, the parliamentarians left for a 3-day retreat, a legal requirement at a local hotel. The finance minister informed assembly members that the 2023 budget is, and I quote, anchored on renewed commitment to strengthening domestic resource mobilization to support the provision of quality essential services in agriculture, education, health, and infrastructure development to promote a more inclusive and resilient growth. Also, the minister revealed that the 2023 budget is prepared with, and I quote, minimal new revenue measures. This, according to the minister, is to give a break to the private sector from the negative impacts of the coronavirus pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war. While that would be welcome news to the private sector, what recipe is there for the average consumer who has equally suffered from the same pandemic and war? To make up for the expected reduction in revenue, the finance minister said efficiency in revenue collections by using web-based methods such as the Asikuda World and GAM TaxNet systems, as well as the integrated tax administration system, will ensure government collects what belongs to the people. Before detailing the contents of the 2023 budget, Minister Keita reflected on the revised 2022 budget, which estimates real gross domestic product growth for 2022 at 4.8%, reflecting an expansion from a rate of 4.3%. Between the projected total revenue and grants and total expenditure and net lending, there appears to be a deficit. For example, projected total revenue is $31.48 billion, while the projected total expenditure is $35.41 billion.
Total revenue and grants for 2023 is projected to reach $31.48 billion, which represents a growth of 18% over the 2022 figure of 26.59. The increment is mainly attributed to estimated increase in tax revenue, budget support grants, non-tax revenues. Project grants is estimated to reach $11.83 billion compared to $9.66 billion in 2022, whereas non-tax revenue is projected to be at 2.97 compared to 2.2 in 2022. Meanwhile, tax revenue is also projected to marginally increase by 1.5% to 13.92 compared to 13.66 in 2022.
What is even more striking is that revenue expected to be generated in 2023 is coming mainly from taxes, which is projected to rise to $13.92 billion from $13.66 in 2022. Other sources include budget support grants and non-tax revenue. Since the budget has just been delivered to the National Assembly, QTV will continue to dig deeper into the document to bring you all the details, such as projected allocations for the different areas of development, such as agriculture, health, defense, and education. Suleiman Dabo for QTV News.
Now, never again has become a popular slogan in the Gambia's transitional justice process, with the Gambia's former Truth Commission having it as its motto throughout its tenure. To advocate against the Gambia backsliding to dictatorship and the era of gross human rights violations, a group of former TRRC staff launched a Never Again network on Saturday. Mahmoud Lamin Choi reports.
The Gambia is currently in the implementation phase of the government's white paper on the TRRC's recommendations. Those recommendations and the government's white paper share a common theme of never again. However, implementation cannot happen without the participation of civil society and other actors. This event sees a civil society organization being launched by former TRRC staff to champion a Never Again campaign. Dr. Baba Gale Jallo is the former executive secretary of the TRRC and the national coordinator of the newly formed Never Again network.
So some of the key objectives of the Never Again network include to create a nationwide network of young people's organizations, including school clubs, sports teams, entertainment groups, community groups, that will strive to understand the Gambia's recent history of dictatorship and human rights violations, and that will serve as a bulwark against the emergence of another dictatorship and a regime of human rights violations in this country.
A Never Again campaign to prevent the Gambia backsliding into the era of dictatorship and gross human rights violations requires a collective effort and the resetting of the attitudes and values of all Gambians. The newly established Never Again network recognizes this as a prerequisite to realize its goals for the country. Lawyer Abdullah Fati is the Deputy National Coordinator of the Never Again campaign.
So in our own small ways, okay, if we begin to change and take small steps by embracing values of tolerance and respect and inclusiveness, that way perhaps government can mirror that, and government may begin to respect citizens, make so fundamental human rights and freedoms are respected.
The young people are envisaged as the most crucial tool to influence social change. This explains why the Never Again network, whose motto is empowering the future, adopts a strategy of putting young people at the center of its advocacy campaign. Sarang Doumbia is the Youth Outreach Coordinator for the Never Again network.
We believe there cannot be no meaningful development without the involvement, the active involvement and participation of young people, and that is why Never Again network is using this dynamic way of advocacy and behavioral change communication using young people.
Charno Gay, a young Gambian poet, is the author of a poem entitled Kill the King. In this poem, Mr. Gay highlights the socio-economic and political realities of the Gambia and cautions that there is a risk for personal as opposed to collective progress.
You're not going to solve your problems by sitting back and hoping that someone better is going to do something about them. There's nobody better suited to do something for you than you, so stand up, speak for yourself, act for yourself, and when time or circumstances call for it, fight for yourself, because the phrase is not youth empowerment, it is youth empower.
Realizing the Never Again dream will be a gradual, long process involving efforts from government, civil society, and citizenry. On our transitional justice journey, commitment and action will determine our progress towards that Never Again destination. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Now, the Media Academy for Journalism and Communication, MAJAC, held its maiden graduation on Saturday for 40 students who had completed the Advanced Diploma in Journalism and Communication. Lena E. Igwenyiba reports.
Since its establishment in 2010 by the Gambia Press Union, the Media Academy for Journalism and Communication has been providing professional training for media and communication specialists in the country. Sang Mendy, the managing director of MAJAC, speaks on the successes the institution has registered since its establishment.
Under the GPU School of Journalism from 2010 to 2015, the Academy has graduated 2 batches. 95% of those graduates are today manning key positions in media development and training, while others serve as editors, communication officers in government, civil society, and international organizations.
Per Gomez, the Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, spoke on the theme, Shaping the Gambia's Democratic Future Through Quality Journalism and Effective Communication.
In an era characterized by misinformation, competition and distraction, the need to promote quality journalism and effective communication cannot be questioned. Given the Gambia's newfound democracy, we would agree that the theme is not only apt, but also timely.
Ibrahima John, the valedictorian with the overall best performance, shares words of wisdom with his fellow graduates.
My fellow graduates, as we prepare to commence our formal journalism practice, let us never forget the ethics we learned from our school. Performing our duties in accordance to the journalism principles.
The Academy is commended for its intensive hands-on training approach, which has molded and produced many outstanding students in journalism and communication who have gone on to work for various media houses. Julden Jai, a reporter at QTV, was awarded Best Overall Student in English Language and Television Production.
It's really a dream come true for me, especially graduating from the mighty Majak, which has impacted a lot of lives in this country. We've seen Majak products everywhere in the media fraternity.
Aliu Sise, a senior reporter at QTV, says the journey to acquire more knowledge and skills continues.
I'm at the university pursuing my degree in journalism at the School of Journalism and Digital Media. So it's a continuation. I mean, in this life, we have to continue learning.
Amadou Oba expressed gratitude to QTV and all those who have been key players in his journey. He intends to continue his education.
It's a moment for not just me, but everyone that supported in one way or the other, and that includes, of course, QTV. They've also contributed to who I am today. So it's dedicated to everyone, my family, my sponsors as well, to everyone that I've worked with.
The 4 batches of graduates who are now ready to join the field of journalism and communication are tasked by various speakers to work harder to achieve their aspirations and work with ethics and professionalism. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena E. Igwenyiba.
From that story by Lena E. Igwenyiba, we will now go for a short commercial break, but when we return, we have more local news stories for you to stay tuned.
kenn du ko jeex li ko waral mooy QTV ak Marketplace dañoo taamu di won réew mi li nga xamante ne mooy quality fashion tegu ci temps xew ci jamono neex a xool lool ma taamu ci Marketplace day jël caméramanam dugg ci biir réew mi seet li nga xamante ne sunuy xale yi réew dañu ko bëgg ndax ñoom dañoo coquette lool seet li gën te gën a gën ñu indil leen ko fii ci biir QTV ngeen di ko seetaan ci àdduna wërngal këpp man namatuma flight jam de li ko waral mooy lépp lu ma daan wuti bitim réew mu ngi fii ci biir réew mi waaye da nga koo bëgg a gis da nga koo bëgg a xam da nga naan jàkk Marketplace dafa fas yéene ñëwaat 2022 bii ànd ak QTV nee nañ kee ngay daxee boo ko mënu la jot li ci sa loxo nga koy sànni moo waral QTV bëgg a sànni seeni programme seeni product yéen teelo yi yéen designers yi ci biir Marketplace boo sànnee day dal de bëgg ngaa sànni da nga jël seeni nomba nga jokkoo ak ñoom ñu fekk si la ci sa diiwaan wane la lu coquette li nga am pour réew mi 324 4444 ak Marketplace dama ciy toogee nu ma neexee ndax lépp lu ma fay gis day tëgg sa bëm.
Cedric and Caroline came in to choose tiles for their brand new kitchen. Brown or beige? Brown. And why not a new mixture tap? A new sink too? Fine, a new sink too. And what about a lighting fixture? Shall we go for this one? See, you're finally on the same page.
I also wanted a new kitchen counter.
We got you, Caroline.
And yes, that's Batimat's Bati Days. Take advantage of exceptional discounts up to 60% on several products families. From November 5th to 19th, you will
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News. Now, to commemorate World Diabetes Day on the 14th of November, Medicare Clinic, in collaboration with the University of the Gambia Medical Students Association, on Monday organized a day-long sensitization on diabetes, free consultation and testing at the Banjul Ferry Terminal. Julde Jai reports.
Which is being conducted at the ferry terminal, an exit and entry point for many commuters to have free diabetes testing and counseling. Non-communicable diseases, especially diabetes and hypertension, are a concern not only in the Gambia, but the world at large. Diabetes continues to pose a critical challenge to global health and is among the top causes of death globally. According to the World Health Organization, more than 422 million people are currently living with diabetes, with the majority in low and middle income countries, and 1.5 million deaths are directly attributed to diabetes each year. In the Gambia, 8.9% of the people are currently living with diabetes, compared to 7.9% in the previous years, according to the Ministry of Health. A lack of access to insulin, blood glucose monitoring devices and other essential medicines further compounds the situation. Mohamed Jeba, the Health and Gender Minister of the University of the Gambia Medical Students Association, says the reason for the event is because they have realized that many people in the Gambia are battling with the disease.
Diabetes is one of those diseases that can manifest anyhow. You know, we see the number of amputations that we are seeing in the hospital is getting many. The number of people that started with diabetes and then they later on move on to have hypertension, and that hypertension can move on to give them stroke is also many. So these are all things that we are trying to prevent here. So once we screen people here, they are tested, we counsel them on how to go about diabetes and not leaving out diet. How do they go about their diet?
Dr. Kennedy Odunto, a consultant general surgeon at Medicare Clinic, says this is the first time they are conducting such activities because they have noticed an increase in patients with chronic illnesses such as diabetes.
One of the risk factors is genetics. It could be inherited from family. Some environmental risk factors too can associate to diabetes mellitus, such as obesity and sedentarism, people who doesn't do physical activity. Also, the kind of food people eat that is very, very rich in carbohydrates will gradually lead to resistance to insulin.
And Sumana Sonko, a staff member of the Gambia Ports Authority Ferry Service, who is getting tested for the first time, says the initiative availed him the opportunity to know his status.
If you sit at home, I'm advising people to come out of Gogo and test diabetes, because it's a serious disease, it's a killer disease. You can be with it silently and it's killing you.
Mama Danso, who is traveling to Farafenye, urged people to get tested. To know your status is important. Rather than sitting at home, taking paracetamol and other drugs whenever you have a headache, get yourself tested whenever you see a health personnel. In doing so, you will know your status and the right medication will be prescribed for you. World Diabetes Day provides an opportunity to raise awareness of diabetes as a global public health issue and what needs to be done collectively and individually for better prevention, diagnosis and management of the condition. For QTV News, I am Julden Yai.
Also commemorating World Diabetes Day, officials of the Ministry of Health and the Gambia Diabetes Association renewed calls for raising more awareness about the disease in the Gambia. Lolem Kamara tells us more.
The event began with a march past led by the Gambia Police Force Band. Occasions like this are marked to educate the public about the dangers of diabetics, resource mobilization and increase the political will to address problems caused by diabetics. Welcoming the guests at the YMCA in Kanifing, Usman Yang, an executive member of the Gambia Diabetes Association, stressed the importance of awareness creation for diabetes.
Out of every 10 people, 3 of them are diabetic. And diabetes is something that should be managed. We have been taught to be able to manage our diabetes, which is very, very important in this country. Diabetes management will need making sure that you take care of what you eat, do a lot of exercise, and make sure that whatever medication is given to you, you follow it religiously.
Omar Baji, NCD Program Manager at Ministry of Health, outlined that diabetics is on the increase in the Gambia.
The diabetes is on the increase. Before, we used to have the prevalence around 1.4, 1.5, 2 point, but now we are talking of 7.9, between 7.9 to 8.9.
The World Health Organization is leading global efforts to expand universal health coverage for many diseases, including diabetics. Momodu Gassama, the World Health Organization representative, recognizes the crucial role the Ministry of Health is playing in fighting non-communicable diseases. He stated that the theme for this year's celebration is apt, which is education to protect tomorrow.
If we don't educate, honestly, tomorrow will be bleak for us, because we are dealing with a condition that has no mercy. It has no mercy because it affects children, it affects adults. It also kills children and it kills adults. So that disease has no mercy. But again, we have the power, and that power is the knowledge, and that power is the resources that we need, and that power is the participation of everybody.
The president of German Diabetes Project, Mr. Ronald Sindler, said diabetics is also prevalent in Germany, with more than 8 to 9 million people living with both type 1 and type 2 diabetics. He encourages better management of the disease at home. Usman Sise from the Young Gambia Diabetics Association thanked all partners for their immense contributions and support towards the day. He then gave this inspiring quote.
Diabetes is the leading cause of bravery, determination, resilience, maturity, empathy, strength, and compassion. In other words, people with diabetes are superheroes without capes.
According to research, diabetics is a group of metabolic disorders characterized by a high blood sugar level over a prolonged period. Symptoms often include frequent urination, increased taste, and increased appetite. If left untreated, diabetes can cause many health complications such as cardiovascular disease, stroke, chronic kidney disease, damage to nerves and eyes, amongst others. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
Now, the members of the Muslim High School Federation gathered on Saturday for their first official meeting to elect executive members to run the federation's affairs. Ajibin Turami has more.
The federation is comprised of 41 batches of graduates from 1981 to date. 18 executive positions are available to run the affairs of the federation, including the positions of president, vice president, secretaries, treasurer, editors, amongst others. Some positions were contested, while some were elected and opposed. A minute silence was observed for the teachers and former classmates who have died. Waka Mas Mbai, the newly elected and opposed president of the Muslim Senior Secondary School Federation, who was among the first batch of the school, the 1981 batch, expresses delight at having gained the position. He also outlined some plans for the federation.
We have created a position called Coordinator of Associations that would be responsible for coordinating all the associations, encouraging, helping them to come on board to the federation. If everything goes well, I think this school is going to be one of the best schools in the Gambia in terms of assistance, because all the ex-students of the school are committed. They are all passionate about the school.
There are over 200 members in the federation, and the newly elected president thanked members for their immense efforts they make in giving back to the school. He also urges alumni to register with the federation so it can achieve its goals.
We thank Muhammad very much. This is not the first time that the QTV is coming here. First time was facilitated through our sister, our friend, Anamja, when they were doing the presentation of equipping the school labs. So your group is part of the school. He is one of the proud products of Muslim High School.
Nahla Sharif Tambedu, the newly elected vice president and part of the 83 batch, was also unopposed.
Muslim High School then and now, I'm sure we can look at the trends in the change in the education structure. At that time, when you graduate from high school, you are really of an excellent quality, but we had a whole bunch of people that are now placed in so many responsible positions that we can look at proudly and say they were members of Muslim High School. We do hope that presently, with new advancements in education, the same trend would continue.
Nahla Sharif shares her plans for the future of the Federation.
The expectation and delivery would be first to ensure that the Federation is legally registered. After that, we would have to draw our work plan for the next 3 years or so, and to look at the areas where we will first want to empower the past pupils to ensure that they take their rightful positions in supporting each other.
Fatoumata Cham, Deputy PRO of the Muslim Senior Secondary School Federation, who is part of one of the more recent batches in the Federation, shares her expectations.
Just like transforming my dreams into reality, it's a pleasure with having our mothers and our fathers in the same federation, working hand in glove with them. We have people that are classroom teachers who were students of this school are also making sure that we will improve the standard of the school.
The Federation was established about 2 years ago. Muslim Senior Secondary School was formerly known as Muslim High School. Many of the school's alumni, including President Adama Barrow, have gone on to attain prominent and important positions in the Gambia. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
I'm afraid that's all we have for you on this news edition. Join us at 10 p.m. for more news. Thanks for watching.